Hello again. Okay, we're here with our last video on culture shock. Okay, so if you were dropped into American society, culture, without any pre-knowledge about it, what would you think about American society if you only had our entertainment media as a reference? Well, I think, to just go off of some reality shows that they have, I would think that all teenage girls get pregnant. And, they don't really care extremely well for their children, and um, you know they're more focused on other things. Some of them, on those shows are focused about their children, but there's so much drama in their lives, and that's all their life revolves around. So I think a lot of it would be drama. There's so much drama, and all teenage girls get pregnant. I think with the Jersey Shore, if I had seen that and came over here, I would think that all people at the beach are tan, Guido type. They're going out drinking every night. So I think to have been, if I were dropped into this society, I would think that, Americans are pretty laid back people, but they have a lot of drama in their life. It's like they're not focused on other things. Another thing, I could think of with these reality shows that would portray some little portion of American society would be like the Real Housewives shows on Bravo. All these women that, again, lots of drama, but at the same time, they're, these super rich women, and they're going out and they're doing all kinds of things that most people in American society aren't really doing. I mean, I think, to us as people in the American society, we find it entertaining because, it's almost like an escape from, our lives, and to see what the other side of life is. But for someone who would just be coming and dropped into this society, I think they would think that based on these reality shows, this is what they would assume all Americans were like, which, is obviously wrong. Okay, so the next question is, as you view American culture and our technology, in what ways would you say culture and technology impact relationships of all types? Well, I think technology, to start off with, it does have an impact on relationships, because, it cuts out having to, go and see the people, or, talk to them in person. Like, there you have the computer, you can email them, you can Facebook them, you can go on Twitter, and then you also have, cell phones and smartphones and tablets and all this stuff, and you can be texting them, and the same things with email, Facebook, and all those things. But I think it's making relationships not as, like, back in elementary school when you wanted to do something with a friend, you either asked them in school or you had to call them on the telephone, like the house phone. But now kids, they want to do something or they want to talk to someone, they're just texting them. So there's not really a lot of, verbal communication face to face, which I think is, in a sense, harming some relationships. It might help some also, because, it could help, establish a relationship and, build on it and, make it better. But I think at the same time, it's, harming in some aspects and helping in others. For culture, I think, the same things with kind of technology. The culture now is, technology is what you need to do everyday things. So, it's cutting out a lot of stuff that you would normally do, like talking to the person in face to face, or, calling them on the telephone. So I think that our culture has almost become a little lazy with the way they communicate with people, because, instead of, talking face to face and having conversations like that, it's making almost American society become, horrible in communication and making relationships healthy and stable and work well, and it's harming communication the worst, because communication is what you need to sustain any type of relationship, no matter who's it with. So I think technology and the culture are both harming that part of relationships. So to reflect on what we've learned this semester by drawing a final conclusion, referring to the topic presented and how it relates to at least 2 subjects learned and discussed in class. So one of them that I had picked was media framing, because media framing was all when the mass media presents stories that frame the reality they want the public to believe. It includes the ways that news organizations pick their top stories and affect the way audience interprets stories and issues. I mean, that right there is all about this culture shock that we were talking about, how if you were dropped into American culture, this is what the people would see because of media framing. They would, this is all they would understand because the media has made it that way, and that's what they want people to see. So, the media can be a harmful thing for anybody, but especially if you're coming into a different society, it's really harmful. The other one that I thought connected quite well and with learning was media dynamics. It includes all the various influences and processes that go into shaping mass media content, from creative issues to economic and business model to political influence to technology advances or limitations to culture and social and even religious pressures and trends. I think that this again goes into if you were dropped into American culture without any knowledge of what was going on in American culture, the dynamics that they present for you could lead you to having a skewed view on our culture. And I think, it really connects quite well with what we discussed. And along with that, media bias, because, with the media having bias in certain issues and certain stories, if people were dropped into this society were only watching those same stories day after day after day on the same station, that's all they would think about, American society. They would have no knowledge or anything about the other side of what was going on. Okay, that's all.